it ain't gonna always taste good. But this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space aliens. I'll save anybody, I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong. Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why? Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man School 202. Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't.
Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? Sexual Revolution being podcasted, y'all. Come on, huh? I'm feeling real old school hip hop. What time in your mind? Huh? Come on, get it. Anyway, just waiting for people to come in. Diva in the comments, using the hospital. What up? What up? You good? I hope you're good. Feel better, my G. Anybody that's in the comments, please give me a thumbs up if you hear me good, if you're nice and clear. What's up, my people? Anybody in the comments, just give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you can hear me nice and clear. Phone lines is up. We live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram. Y'all can get me on all of those. Let's see. Baby likes coffee in the building. Diva, sickle cell. Ah, man. Shit. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Well, at least you can't get malaria, so that's always good. Hope you feel better, bro. Hope you feel better. It's funny how they haven't found a cure for that yet. I wonder why. Never mind. Moving on. Phone line's up, 929-269-4922. Let's get it. A lot of stuff on my mind. I'm just waiting until everybody comes in. I know I was running a little late today, but I'm here. So we in the building. Feeling good. Happy Sunday to everybody. It's good to be here. It's an interesting thing. I was talking to somebody this week, and you know, it just never fails to hear me, not to hear me, but to hear guys say, you know, in a world where everybody says nobody gives a fuck, right? Nobody cares. Everybody's thoughtless. But it seems like the people that listen to this podcast, y'all give a fuck. You know how many times I hear from nice guys, you know, I don't want to be an asshole. That is always something that comes up. What up, Raptor in the building? Nobody, all the nice guys never want to be an asshole. It's interesting because all the assholes don't mind being assholes. They're really okay with it. In fact, they don't give a fuck that they're assholes. They're assholes all day. And it's always interesting to me how the nicest guys in the world, you know, I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to speak my mind. And I didn't want to, I don't want to hurt no. I want to come off as an asshole. HBD in the building. What up? Shout out your boy, Classic Jeff in the building. The original Old Yeller. 487. Is that you, Jeff? Jesus. How crazy is that? What up, team? What up, team? Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy how the nicest guys in the world never wanna speak up. Never wanna speak up. Don't wanna hurt people's feelings. Don't wanna come off as somebody who's a bad guy. And what I find more than anything is those nice guys that have the absolute most difficult time speaking up for themselves. Just understand this. If you think about any of your, I'm assuming that everybody on here is grown. If not, that's even better, because if I'm talking to kids and giving them this knowledge, now they're gonna have it together by the time they're in their 20s. But I assume that most guys is, their balls have dropped already. So that's dope. But what I mean is, if you think back on any of your friends in high school or your friends in college, nobody's changed. The shady motherfuckers that'll steal your girl are still the shady motherfuckers now. The insecure guys who have been insecure, even if they've gotten some level of success, they are still insecure. The thieves still steal. The dirtbags are still dirtbagging. The hoes are still hoeing. People don't change. Now, I'm not saying that you can't change, because I think that would be counterintuitive for me to even say that when I'm trying to show people how to transform, how to become the butterfly that goes in the cocoon and the caterpillar that goes into the cocoon and comes out to a ferocious butterfly. I know that sounds weird, but that's what this show is about. It's teaching you how to change. But in order to change, understand there has to be something catastrophic that happens. People don't change for no reason. Nobody wakes up and goes, oh, you know what? I'm going to finally get my shit together. Bullshit. It don't happen. That's a bullshit. It never happens that way. It's always a situation where something catastrophically awful happens, and then people make a decision that I got to get my shit together. So I worked as a union rep. Y'all know my history. I worked as a union rep, and I put maybe over 200, 250 guys in rehab. Alcohol, drugs, whatever. And what I find over and over again, everybody who's went into rehab nobody went one time and then got it out. Everybody went several times, over and over again. And you know what happens when the thing that really gets them to the point where they make that change is when their kids are like, fuck you, I don't want to hear your excuses, I'm tired of your bullshit. When your wife is like, listen, if you get high again, I'm moving down south, I'm out of here. If you do this again, we gonna fire you. And it becomes this catastrophic thing that has to happen that really triggers or is the catalyst for change. And I just think because people are so habitual. I mean, there's good and bad to being habitual. I mean, you can also create good habits. But understand that changes, the body always tries to maintain its homeostasis. Homeostasis, same state, it means. You know, a couple of people, I said homeostasis, and a couple of y'all was like, pause. But people don't change. So what you find more over than not is that the people who were doing the things that they were doing they're still doing the same things. They're still in that place where they can't get past whatever problems they had in the first place. And the nice guys, the people pleasers, the people that always want to, always, and it's always people that I can usually pinpoint it right away that they're people pleasers. I had a good friend of mine in his mid-50s. He actually, I won't mention his name, but he went to, no, I will actually, because I'm not saying nothing bad, but he did the podcast. Okay, real quick, don't forget, it's Chuck, my buddy Chuck Nice. Love this dude to death. One of the nicest guys in the world. If y'all want to see that episode, it's on the, if you sign up for the Patreon. Patreon is on patreon.com/manschool202. All the old episodes are on the Patreon. So I was talking to Chuck Nice, and he was one of those guys that always agreed. We always got along good. He always agreed with me. But he always felt like my perspective was too harsh. Phone line's up 929-269-4922. He always felt like I was too harsh, that I went at things, it was too upfront, I was too abrasive or whatever. Oil Per, what up? Oil Per, what up, fam? Only missed a minute. You didn't miss nothing. You know I talk shit and let everybody come in to get on live. So, but there's this dude. When I was talking to him, and I said to him, I said, I could just tell you're a people pleaser. And then I was asking questions about his relationship with his father, and his father grew up with his dad and his mom. They still together, but father was one of those guys who was like, if you got a 98 on that, the Camille, what up? Camille in the city, what's popping? One of those dads, if you got a 98 on the test, he was like, where's the 2 points? What happened to the points? Was never satisfied. And I think what happens more over than not is, like I've said this 100 times, parents don't have, they don't have directions. Kids don't come with directions. And so what their parents did, a lot of times they haven't introspectively decided whether it was effective when they were kids. They haven't even recognized their own personal trauma. And so they have kids and they do the same shit. I mean, it's crazy when you hear people talk about, especially black comics, you gotta beat your kids, And what's crazy about that is the fact that if you're trying to teach your kid not to be violent, how do you do that? By beating them. How do you, it just doesn't even make sense. If you are the father and you are that single biggest, model for manhood, and you're violent, then how do you propose your kid not to be violent? This is why when I say to people, when you're in these negative, really shitty relationships, and you're in a situation where you have this trauma that you've dealt with and haven't dealt with it, and then it becomes cyclical. It becomes cyclical. It repeats over and over again. And you gotta, so if you're in a shitty relationship and you stay together for the kids, and your wife has lost respect for you, or your husband has lost respect for you, what you're really doing is you're dooming your kids to be the same people that you are. Because their mama is gonna be the direct model for womanhood, and you as the father is going to be the direct model for manhood. So this is why it's so important. This is, when you see guys and they're not getting their shit together, and then they have kids or they're gonna have kids, man, it is such your responsibility to at least give your kids the best version of yourself so that they have something to model from. And they're not listening to you. Understand something. Nobody's listening. The kids is not listening to you. What they are doing is they're watching you. They're watching your every move. They're watching if you're consistent. They're watching if you keep your word. They're watching if you're disciplined. You're watching if you hold them accountable. They're watching you if your wife is disrespectful to you. They're watching you if your husband is disrespectful to you. And what you have to understand is that you cannot tolerate this nonsense from nobody. You can't. Not just for yourself, but for the lineage, for the people who come after you, for your kids. Because if you're a pushover, trust me, your kid's gonna be a pushover. And then if your wife is a bitch, trust me, your son's gonna marry a bitch. He'll meet the nicest girls in the world, and he'll turn them all away for the ones that treat him as bad as his mother treated you. And I'm not making this specific to women or men. I'm just saying you cannot tolerate this negative behavior. I got a call. Let's Go Cards 04 sent me a question. Let me read this. Hey, Dante, I can't call at the moment, but I had a question. Do you feel pride or joy anymore? I feel like I've been making strides in my life recently, but I'm not taking pleasure in it. All right, so I get what you mean. Don't get me wrong. I get what you mean, because what happens is, let me think of the best analogy I could give you. Okay, if you go to work and you work a 40-hour week, when payday comes around, you expect to get paid, right? Now, if I ask you this, are you excited about getting paid? Yeah, I mean, I guess to a certain extent, because, now you're going to have money and you didn't have money before. But are you excited? Are you elated? Are you, prideful about? No. Why is that? Because you did what needed to be done to earn those things. Now, if you didn't go to work and somebody paid you, and not even if you was on vacation, but let's say you stayed home and still got paid. Let's say you found $1,000 on a park bench or something like that. Yeah, you feel good about that because it wasn't something that you earned. The difference is, when you have worked to earn something, you don't feel the adulation about what you get. So I think what happens, it just becomes a more mature perspective, is that you should have pride in the fact that, and I don't even know if it's pride, I mean, because pride may go beyond where you should be at. But when you are doing what you need to do, what you have laid out a certain task, and you fulfill those tasks, maybe you don't feel pride, but you feel confident. And I think confidence is more important than anything else. Understand that pride is an emotion, right? And what do I say? Never let emotion have a seat at the table. Now, I'm not saying that you can't enjoy the things that you do. I just bought a new car. I love my car. I hooked it up. It's dope. I mean, I've got a Benz AMG 53. I'm loving it, and I enjoy it. I enjoy riding it. But am I elated? Not really, because I had to buy it. I worked to get the money to buy it, and I paid it, and I bought it with the money that, I mean, nobody gave it to me. And so pride is a strong word. Do I feel confident? Do I enjoy riding around it? Do I like the fact that my closest friends really think it's a great car and they love it and whatever? But here's the problem with Maya Houston said this years ago. She said, if you pick up the accolades, then you also have to pick up the criticisms. So when you feel that pride, or that elation, or you start getting high on your own supply, aka sucking your own dick, you're headed for a problem. Because you need to be balanced and centered. Anybody that's ever taken a boxing class or martial arts class, you need to be able to throw punches without leaning too far in and losing your balance, or too far back where you're off balance, going backwards. You have to be centered. And what happens when you're centered, I believe that your life is better overall, but you also, for that, you sacrifice these moments of elation and happiness to where it's out of control. But I think that's a good thing, because we're not kids anymore. I had a friend of mine that got mad at me because I didn't check him for his birthday. I don't celebrate my own birthday. So if you mad at me because I didn't go to your birthday party, and I'm not saying if he had invited me, I would have went. But the point I'm making is, look, I don't fuck around like that. It's 50 years old, man. I've had enough birthdays. There's work to be done. And what makes today, I heard a quote from Prince. Prince said the reason why he stays young is because he doesn't celebrate birthdays. He goes, you only have one birthday. That's when you're first born. Everything else is just a remnants of that first birthday. And when you realize, it's like, I'm going to start in the new year. I got a New Year's, you're stupid. You're stupid, because what you're doing is you're wasting time and energy in a situation where you got work to do. So I guess that's the point. I think that there is a confidence that comes on over you based on your accomplishments and the fact that you know what you went to do. That it also creates a situation where there's a block between somebody's criticisms don't hit you on a personal level because you're in control of your emotions. But being in control of your emotions also puts you in a situation where you don't have. It's like, I remember this. My sister used to love to go on roller coasters. I didn't like roller coasters because it was like, I didn't like the uncertainty, but she used to make me do shit all the time. But the way I got on the roller coaster, I was like, look, we in Disneyland. This is a multi-million, I know it's weird that I was a little kid thinking in terms of this. Disneyland is a multi-million-dollar business. If I get hurt on this ride, I'm gonna own Disneyland. My family's gonna own Disneyland. So what is the chances of these people putting these rides on with no safety situation? It just is not not beneficial for them to put you on a ride that's just unnatural, Big shout to Xavier. Thank you for the $10, bro. You always on point, dog. I don't give a fuck what nobody said. Thank you, Xavier, for the 10. So I think what happens is, big shout to Brian Lorenzo. Thank you, brother, for the $20. I appreciate you. So I think that you have to be in a situation where your thinking and your emotions have to be measurably in control. That's how you maintain. I believe that's how you maintain your control. That's also how you maintain taking care of business and feeling comfortable about who you are and what you are. So I guess that answers that. Let's see. for our generation, oil purses for our generation. I don't think it was about not teaching violence. It was about control and dominance. I'm the parent. I'm the parent. You're the kid. Yeah, I agree, but it was just really, I agree. They were taught that. Our parents were taught that. But how often do we stifle kids' creativity because we don't let them express themselves, you know? Dio sends me, who do I got, Canelo or Crawford? Definitely Crawford. And I don't know if there's a lot of boxing fans, but first of all, I don't think that Canelo deserved the shot that he got with Mayweather in the first place. Because if you look at the fight, I don't know if anybody who's boxing fans, but in the comment, I don't know if anybody remembers who Canelo fought before Mayweather. I'm gonna give you all a second. Anybody know who Canelo fought before Mayweather? I don't want to give it away, but Canelo lost that fight. Canelo was hot, but this is, I don't know if anybody knows who it is. If you know who Canelo fought before Mayweather, put it in the comments. It wasn't Triple G. I'm gonna wait for a couple more guesses. Anybody know who fought Canelo before? And if I'm lying, I'm dying. You can look this fight up what's that? Maidana? Nope, wasn't Maidana. I'm gonna get one more guess. Who was Canelo before? Who did Canelo fight before Mayweather? One more guess I'll wait for. Wasn't Austin Trout. Yes, it was Lara. Yes. Edie's Lara, Cuban fighter, slick Cuban fighter. And what Canelo couldn't do nothing with him. If you watch that, go on YouTube, watch that fight. Aries Lara whipped his ass. He was slick and sharp and he couldn't do except Jake LaMotta. No, it was Aries Lara, Cuban kid, was nasty. Made Canelo look bad, but they had already lined up the Floyd Mayweather fight. And then we all know when Canelo fought, yes, he did lose that fight. That's what I'm saying. But they had the Mayweather fight already lined up. That was the big money fight. And Lara was doing what he wanted with him. But they weren't going to let that Mayweather fight go. No, it was not. No, it was not. He fought Lara again, but before the Mayweather fight, Lara fought Canelo. And then when Canelo fought Mayweather, Mayweather made Canelo look like he was a child. It was a boxing camp, which is interesting because right after Mayweather just spanked Canelo, I honestly thought that that's when I became a fan of Canelo, because he changed his whole fight style after Mayweather spanked him. But I would say this: I don't think anybody is as sharp as Bud. I don't think anybody's as strong as him. I don't think there's anybody meaner, and and Canelo's too slow. I think he's too slow for that. So, yeah, and he did almost get knocked out by Cotto, but when you got those big money fights, they're gonna fix them, because there's too much money involved. But if you look at, I remember sitting up. This was kind of, Lara was supposed to be a tune-up fight for him. Angulo, Floyd, and then no. Let me see. I'm gonna Google it now, because now you got me on my shit. Because I remember thinking I remember specifically that I didn't like Canelo early on because of Because Lara beat him. Trout, then he fought Trout, then he fought Lara, then he fought Floyd. Look it up. Because you got to be honest. Why would you give Lara a spot when it was the tune-up for Floyd? But anyway, Angulo. Yeah. Yes. And it was crazy because he couldn't cut off the ring. It was a clinic. So, but anyway, let's get back to what we talking about. Yeah, but I got Bud on this. He dismantles people slowly but surely. He just figures you out and then takes it and it tears you apart. So there's that. But yeah, I was saying that there's clearly a situation where you get to the point. So I'm always talking about the importance of ACE and the importance of maintaining your integrity and your credibility and your honesty and all of those things. But I don't talk about the downside of it. The downside of it is this. You lose your friends. There's a lot of people who you don't fuck with no more. You don't have that, this is an interesting thing because I've said this over and over again, is like when you have a relationship and it's one-sided where one person is more into the person than the other, or I won't even say more into the person, but where somebody is, like if a woman is emotionally out of control, right? The relationship is better for her than it is for you. It's always better for her. You know why? Because it's bungee jumping and not in a foreign country, not knowing if you're gonna survive. There's a thrill of the fact that, oh, when's he gonna call me? When's he gonna see me? This and that. Whereas with you understand the real logistics of it. So you don't feel that out of control, head over heels. I don't know what I'm gonna do if she doesn't call me. You stop feeling that, which is a better situation because you're able to make decisions without the emotion. You have to be able to just never let the emotions have a seat at the table. And when you're overly excited, I'm not saying that you can't enjoy company, but it has to be pleasant. The relationship should be pleasant and growing. It's a different kind of mature love. It's like, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. This also a situation where, how many times we get on guys will call in real quick. Also, the phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. How many times have we been on this live and somebody calls in after they've gone through a breakup and they're out of control? How do I just, I don't know, and she won't call me back, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that is that out of control feeling that you have. You get that out of control feeling and you don't have control over your emotions. And so what do you end up doing other than making mistakes? You make more and more mistakes. You create a situation where you literally put the seal on it where you can never have any control again in the relationship. We got a call. Hold on.
To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Yeah, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Luca. I'm from DC.
What's up, Luca? How you doing, bro? How can I help you?
I'm doing pretty good. So I actually have a kind of similar situation because I went through a breakup recently.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to like the video that you put with Harry on the Patreon, and it was almost like you guys were speaking like directly to me about this.
Yeah.
So I'm not really like off the rail about it. Like I ended the relationship because it felt very one-sided. So my question is, now that I'm like logically over the relationship, in your experience, like how much time should I take to like kind of reflect on the whole thing? Like,
Nothing. No time.
When do I really know that I'm
No
ready
time.
to move on?
No time at all. Anybody that
Okay.
tells you to take time, and you know that's a real chick thing to say. I'm just trying to get myself together. I need to take some time for my. In essence, what are you really saying when you hear that? I'm afraid. My feelings are hurt, and I'm afraid. I'm afraid of getting hurt again, and so I'm not ready to get up on the horse again. And what do we say over and over again? It's like, it's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up. And understand something. Look, I understand if you got a test, if you're trying to pass, you're trying to put your thesis in, and you trying to get your PhD. But let's be honest, man. Nobody is in a situation where they don't have some time to for companionship in some fashion. I understand if somebody is demanding more time than you have to give, but you're not even in that situation. Here's the thing, and I've talked about this. Getting over your relationship is 5 pussies away. So
Absolutely.
what happens is, and I've talked about this some, that this is basically genetic. And if you get a chance, go on the channel and look at the one the episode I do with Professor Dave, and we talk about the biological and instinctual aspects of humanity and pair bonding, and the fact that when you're with somebody, you get accustomed to them. You know how they feel, you know how they smell, you know how they taste, you know the tone of their voice. You get comfortable with their with everything about them, smell, taste, touch, and you pair bond, right? And so when you get back in the field and you start dating again, and let's say you get laid, right? It's never good the first time. You're awkward because your expectations are the expectations of what your ex was, whatever that was, which is interesting because sometimes, if the relationship broke up, you're usually at a point where you're not having sex anyway. There's always a situation because of the animosity, and because very rarely is the sex in the relationship still happening and y'all getting ready to break up. It just because sex is more. Sex is more. It's more than just sticking it in a hole. You understand? There's an emotional, especially with women. So the first time you're gonna feel really awkward. The second time it's gonna get a little better. The third time you'll be the first time that the third woman is the third time you'll feel like, oh wow, that was pretty good. I'm really enjoying that, right? And then the fourth and fifth time you'll be like, well, what was her name again? Because what you're actually doing is you're rebooting your computer. You're cutting the computer off and you're turning it back on, and you get a fresh start. You clean your cache. You clean out all the folders and you throw out the trash, and then you clear, and then you're ready to kind of look at this new relationship in a different perspective. So if you wait, you're still gonna have to go through this situation, this awkwardness, and all the stuff that happens with that as well, So I would say no time at all.
Okay.
Another thing
I
is,
think,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because you're talking about it in the video, and like sometimes when I think back, I'm like, oh, like I kind of miss the familiarity, because I was spending so much time with this person for so many months, and then I think that I miss them, but like you said in the video, I just immediately remember how terrible it was so many times.
Well, sure, because you don't remember any of the horrible stuff. Like all you remember is the good stuff, and all you remember is the good stuff, and what you have to really understand is usually if you're in a situation where the relationship where she breaks up with you or something, the relationship was probably trash for a minimum of a year before it broke up. Big shout out to 808 Presley. What's going on? Thank you for the $10, bro. I love you, man. So it usually is not even. I mean, you're not even assessing the relationship for what it was when it was. Would you agree with that?
Well, in this case, it was like a 6-month relationship, and I kind of wanted to end it like maybe a month ago, and then I just kind of let things. I didn't want to go like too soon on it, so I kind of let things kind of let the cards fall where they did.
Yeah, but why did
and
you?
In the end,
If you
I was
wanted,
like, I gotta call it.
if you wanted to get rid of it, why didn't you get rid of it?
I think I was kind of.
Be honest.
There were a lot of promises about how things would get better, and then I wanted to believe those things and give them the benefit of the doubt. But then after a month, I was like, okay, this isn't really truthful. So I'm just, I kind of saw it as a
look,
lie.
if you see somebody and they're genuinely making an effort to fix things, but what you're gonna find more over than not, if you haven't established already that you're not a person that don't take no shit, you're gonna get tried. You're gonna have to check somebody. And you gotta be willing to stand 10 toes down, that if you check somebody and you made it clear about what you like, and somebody, because understand there's a subtext of what's being said. When you say, I don't like this particular thing, right? And somebody goes, yeah, and they just do exactly what they wanted to do anyway, or what they were doing before. What are they really saying to you? They're saying, I don't give a fuck about what makes you happy. I don't care what you said. I don't care what the agreement was. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do, and you better take it. So here's my question: what if you had problems, right? And you had a conversation. Look, I don't appreciate this, or this just doesn't line up with my non-negotiables and stuff like that. And this is something that is relationship breaking. If you had that conversation with somebody, and the woman said, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want."
That's what happened, actually.
She verbally said that to you?
Well, because we were going through the breakup, and she had kind of crossed some boundaries, and I told her that I wasn't okay with it. And she was trying to, negotiate the boundary, or say, oh, you should have talked to me about, setting this boundary with me. And I was like, well, listen, would you be, okay being in a relationship with me where this is my boundary and this is how I act? And she said no. And so I said, okay, then we're done. So that's how the breakup went.
So she wanted you to put up with something that she wouldn't put up with, in other words.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, then she's going to fuck you. I mean, in essence, she's going, I'm selfish, and I don't give a fuck about your happiness. If somebody verbally, I mean, she didn't say it directly, but if you had said this is what the boundaries are, and a woman said, yeah, I don't really give a fuck about your happiness, I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do, what would you do?
Leave.
You really have no choice but to leave.
Yeah.
Am I right? But the point is, because
correct,
it's not explicitly said, verbalized, because you don't have options, because because you're not confident about yourself, that you can find somebody else that you haven't really worked on yourself, where you think that you have value, you don't want to leave because you don't want to lose. But where you don't understand is getting rid of somebody who doesn't jive with you and y'all don't fit. They're not leaving you. They're doing you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you're comfortable, if I say, and I've known them, I'm somebody that I'm not an adversarial guy and then even when I am adversarial, I'm not adversarial. But if you go beyond that again, and I go, yo, are you out your rabbit ass mind? You must be out your, then I'm like, yo, I don't give a fuck. I'll do without you. I don't give a fuck what the loss is, because the only thing that's going to happen beyond that is that the disrespect is not going to get better. It never gets better. So if you put up with it, then you're saying, understand the same way that she's not making the adjustment makes you go, makes her, her not making the adjustment is basically telling you to fuck off. You allowing it is telling her, yeah, I'm full of shit. All the shit that I'm talking, all this stuff.
No,
Go ahead.
there's like no desire for me to ask her to come back. You know, I ended the relationship. I don't want to go back to it because it's like, you go back, it's not going to be any better. I don't want to go back to the same relationship.
Agreed,
Even if there is a
agreed. But being
familiarity
able to walk away, you cannot make people do what you want them to do, but you can decide that you're not going to tolerate people's bullshit when they're giving you bullshit. And when you're righteous about your own, you know, what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you can't have disagreements and whatever in discussions. I'm just saying if y'all are communicating, or if you're gonna just get an attitude and just like jump out the window, it's like I'm not putting up with that. I have to deal with that in my life every day, at my job, at work, in my place of business, and the club, you know, everything, my agents and the people who don't want to work with me. And I will not come home and have that kind of unrest in my home. Now, we can have a disagreement. There might be something that's compromised, but when it's actively using you as an emotional punching bag, you got to be out of your mind. I'll never see you again. We will. I mean, and it's a weird thing because, you know, so she was giving Harry the business. So you got to understand something. It is what it is, and the honesty. But the same thing when when people go, well, you know, how do you like? Where's your happiness or whatever? Yeah, you don't have that same kind of prideful jubilation when things go well. You're pleasant and you're happy with your situation, but that is also the thing that doesn't have you all twisted, where your nuts is all twisted up, where this woman is blatantly being disrespectful to your face, and you are too afraid to leave, and so this just continues to be the situation. So that's the situation. And understand something, whatever you're trying to achieve, right? No, this is not about, understand this, the finish line is death. That's the finish line, right? So you have to pursue, it's not about getting to the finish. I mean, I'm not saying that we don't have goals and we have set goals and stay diligent so we can achieve those goals. Yes. But what I am also saying is it is about you enjoying your life throughout. After the breakup, before the breakup, in the pursuing of a new relationship, in the pursuing of meeting other people, in your new job, moving from the job that you hate to the job that you love, whatever, you gotta immerse yourself in the joy of and the process of moving from station to station. And I think that's where we get because no matter what happens, there's always gonna be something, everything will change. Those happy times won't be happy always. Those sad times also won't be. You know, you lose. When I lost my mom, my world kind of fell. But I mean, you pick up and you keep marching, and then there's moments of success and joy and stuff that you get beyond that. So if that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying, Dante. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, brother. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks for taking the call.
All right. Phone lines is up, 929-269-4922. Phone lines is up. I'm looking at the comments. Who is a male role model for you growing up, famous or otherwise? I don't know if I had a male role model. I mean, I think there were people who I had an understanding of where people looked at them exceptionally, but understand everybody is flawed. Everybody is flawed. Everybody has the thing that they fall off. But what I will say this, is when you look at people who, you know, and this is what I mean when I talk about, you know, this is a lonely path. Because if I ask you who was Bruce Lee's best friend, I mean, we know the people that he trained with, Guru Danny Santo and Gene LaBelle and different people like that, where he, you know, he trained martial arts with them and whatever. But you don't know. Who's Michael Jordan's best friend? I don't know. Who's fucking Curry's best friend? I don't know. Who was Muhammad Ali's best friend? I mean, who was Malcolm X's best friend? I mean, and I'm not saying that he didn't have friends, but when you're so big, when you're pursuing excellence or the best version of yourself, you don't have time. I mean, you have friendships, but the friendships are passing. They happen as you move on, you know? So there's that. And you know, you there's people that you like, and I still have people that I really enjoy their company, but I don't have time to spend with those guys. Yeah, well, somebody, JR, was like, Kobe and Jordan. You know, one of the things I saw the documentary on the Dream Team with Kobe and LeBron, and when everybody else was coming back from the club, right? Kobe was heading to the gym, and that's why he was exceptional, you know, and winning was everything. Wasn't Bruce Lee's BF the woman that gave him the aspirin? I mean, he had a lot of people around him that adored him, but let's be honest, they adored him. Nobody was a linchpin for them. Nathan, you said, could you answer my question? I'm not sure what was the question. I'm looking back, and I don't see the question. So if you can, Nathan, write the question down, and I'll answer the question. I apologize if I missed it. So I don't really have I mean, I look at people and what they do, and I use it as a model, but I don't really have somebody that I, per se, oh, this is the guy that I mean, it's different for each situation. I think what it is just understanding that human beings are human beings. I don't worship other men. I use them as maybe an inspiration. But anybody that I've seen as an inspiration is always also somebody that has some kind of human, what do you call it? Missteps or flaws. Thanks, Dante. The question above. What's the question above? I'm looking back. I'm looking at it in the chat, so I don't see it. The first thing I'm seeing from you, Nathan, is, could you answer my question? Cut and paste it and put it back in the comments, and I'll get on it as soon as I see it pop up. Is this it? I can't call. No, I don't see it. Cut and paste it and put it back in the chat. I'll hit it as soon as I see it. Oh, let's see. Wait. Is this it? No. Bruce Lee. Yeah. Phone lines are open. 929-269-492. Let's get it. I'm not gonna be on here all night. We already 54 minutes in. We only had one call, so if anybody's got to talk, get on it. It's right above where? Would you rewrite the damn cut and paste the comment, please? I don't see it. What was the question? It says, thanks, Dante, the question above. Where? I don't see a question above. Dante, could you answer? I don't see it. Put it back in the comments. I'll answer it, dog. You don't want to fight with me because I can't see it? Nathan, put it in or call in. Even be better. Lika Sala says, have you ever been in a situation you feel like dating only one woman feels impossible? I don't see it, Nathan. Sorry, bro. I don't see it. I'm getting your response. So if you didn't send it, I don't know why it's not coming. Anywho, let me see something. Yeah, I think you can, all of that is any and all of that. Anything is possible. I just, I don't know if I've found somebody who fulfilled me in that way. Anything is possible. I just, I don't know. So, I don't know. I just want to make sure that there's no super chats. So, sorry, Nathan. I don't see it, man. Nobody sees it. Starts hiding. No, I don't see it. Nobody sees it. JR doesn't see it. Everybody's saying you're trolling. Whatever. Anyway, I don't have time. If you put it in the chat, I will answer it. There's no reason why I wouldn't. Or call in and I'll answer it. Yeah, but I think that what I was saying before is that there's a situation where there needs to be, so often there needs to be a catastrophic thing that happens that makes people change. Like there has to be something tragic and overwhelming that says, I need my life to be different. And that just doesn't, it just, I need something that needs to change. And if that doesn't happen, it just doesn't, it just, people don't change. There has to be something at stake. And I totally get the point where people say, oh, my New Year's resolution, but it just doesn't happen that way. I watched the documentary. I don't know if anybody saw the documentary on The Biggest Loser and how The Biggest Loser screwed up people's lives. But one of the things is, like, all these people who have been fighting with their weight and stuff for so long, the reason why all the things are, why these people wanted to be on the show, because it would hold them accountable, so that once they got on TV, they knew that it was something that would hold them accountable, and that's why they wanted to be on the show, and that's what changed everything. So, so you find that that's the case. It's like people don't change. I mean, people, and if you think about it, the people that I mean, look, your mama is the same person she was. Your daddy is the same person he is. The only, I will say this. I remember dating somebody who her mother got dementia, and that was the thing. Okay. Nathan, so you said basically I've started dating a girl. Okay, where's the rest of it? What's the question? Because she was such an evil woman, just such a nasty woman, that when she, I'm not interested in that position. Basically, I've started dating a girl, but I'm not interested in that position. So are you saying, Nathan, that she wants you to be in a relationship and you don't want to be in a relationship? Is that what you're saying? But this woman, she got, when dementia kicked in, because in order to, when people are nasty, especially older people when they're nasty, they remember everybody who did, in their mind, so-called, did them wrong. And they remember who they're going to pay back. What up, Russ? What's going on? I appreciate it, bro. I saw the text. Big shouts to Russell helping me out with all of the editing and stuff. Thanks, Russ. But if y'all need somebody to shoot a movie or something, check out Russ. He's an amazing producer and filmer, cameraman, and all kinds of editor. And so if y'all need somebody to do some work for you, he's the guy to go check. But yeah, you need these catastrophic moments that change people. And it's not until those things happen that people change. And even when those things change, so a lot of times people will change a little bit and then they'll go back to the same old shit. Just motivate. Yeah, I mean, because we're so habitual, in terms of how we approach life. I mean, that happens a lot of times in these relationships. You get in these relationships and you get so comfortable with the relationship that you can't change. You can't change, what you're doing because you're so stuck on, the same old nonsense, doing the same old shit. And if you don't, you really need somebody to kick you in the ass. This is why when I do the consultations, I will inevitably always get a guy. Well, I'm not this kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't really do this. I don't really do that. And I instantly say, I don't care. I don't care what kind of guy you are. Because you being the kind of guy you are is what got you there in the first place. That goes without saying. So what we're trying to do is change the patterns, which don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't think that it's difficult. I do understand that it is absolutely difficult. But that's what makes you exceptional. That's what makes each and every one of you exceptional, is because you're willing to make the changes. There's so many people that are not willing to make the changes. And because of that, it's the same old shit. People bitching about what their situation and making no effort to change or to do things differently. Don't get me wrong. It's not just that. I mean, nobody is learning how to box from YouTube clips. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can learn some things, but you got to have a coach. And that is why we do the one-on-one consultations. DanteNero.com, click on consult. If you got a problem, and anybody to tell you, anybody in the chats, anybody who's done consultations with me, it is life-changing. So I get that's not always the cheapest, or it's not, that people, but this is, we're talking about things that change your life. Teach you how to think, and it's really, and I make it as simple as possible. So that's one-on-one consultations, DanteNero.com, click on consult. Able to do, thank you, JR, appreciate you. JR says worth every penny. It is what it is. Nathan, I heard the first part of the song. It said, I'm not interested in that position. And then I see you asking, just retype the question. Anyway, or call in. The phone lines are open. Let me put the lines up. Phone lines up, 929-269-4922. We're an hour in. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on, maybe another 15, 20 minutes. And then we'll be live again on Tuesday. I'm heading out to the UK on, I think the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, 22, something like that. I'll be out in UK, so we won't be going live at that point in time. So get it while it's hot, because it'll not. Heading out for that. And I'm working on my special. We're still working on getting the store up with the logo like this, what I got on my shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. Charles, where's Asian Andre been off Godfrey? He never addressed it. Asian Andre, thank you for the $2, family. The Andre just didn't want to be on Godfrey anymore. He just didn't want to do it. Wants to on my face. All I'm getting is one word, Nathan. I don't know what is going on with you, but Asian Andre's doing his own thing. You can Google him. He's on Instagram and stuff. He's doing comedy, but he did. I'm a dom, so I'm not interested. Okay, I'm kind of getting a piece of this. So you're a dom, and she doesn't wanna. She wants a relationship. Is that what you're trying to say? You know, Nathan, you could do a what do you call it? A super chat, and I would get the whole thing, but it's up to you. Or call in, like I said. So I'm a dom, and I'm not interested. This is such pieced apart in pieces, so I don't know. I'm getting one word at a time, which is weird. And you don't believe me? Here it is, because this is the last time I'm gonna tell you this. Is Nathan? This is your comment. It just says on, then it says my, then it says face. She wants to sit on my face or whatever the fuck is going on. I don't know. But oh, thanks. I was just curious. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, he just decided it wasn't for him. Andre didn't like the racial undertones and stuff, so it was kind of a thing for him where he just wanted it out. He wanted out. So I get it. You know, he was wanted to pursue his own career, and he didn't. You know, he just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. I mean, one of the things about it is Godfrey and I are friends above all else, and you know, that's my man, and we look out for each other. Therefore, you know, it's more friendship than it is anything else. So just keep that in mind. Phone lines are open, 929-269-LECA. My problem is some women just stick around, and then I let it go on for too long. And the longer it goes, it gets really hard to stop the situation when I notice that I'm not ready for a relationship. Well, Lika, you got to understand that this is a you problem. You have a situation that you're not comfortable with, and you're allowing it to go too far. If you stand up and you speak your mind and you let it, you're like, even in the question, you're admitting that you said my problem is that someone stick around. No, they don't stick around. You let them stick around. If you're not interested in this and they're pressuring you into doing something you don't want to do, and you tell them, look, I'm not interested, and you're going to just keep on, you're going to keep allowing them to pressure you. What you're also saying, understand that everything you do and everything you don't do is a communication. If you allow it to fester, you're basically saying it's okay, that the behavior is okay. If you don't stop it, if you got somebody and they're whining and coming at you all crazy, and you say, listen, and you've made it clear about what your stand is, then the fact that somebody keeps going over it, what they're saying is, I don't give a shit about what you're talking about. So, I mean, that's your fault. This is a you problem. It's not a her problem. And you have to set the boundaries where you're comfortable. Understand this. She gets to set the boundaries of where she's comfortable too. The difference is if both of your understandings don't align, right? Then it's no hard feelings. You just y'all ain't right for each other. And if you leave early on, right, then you don't have to be in a situation where you resent each other for sticking around and not doing doing what somebody wanted you to do, and then you're yesing them to death, or even understand your complicitness in somebody asking you to do something and you just keep, putting up with it, and you're not making it clear about what your perspective on a relationship is, you're basically saying, if you're not saying yes, you're saying maybe. Now, it's funny because I stated the difference. What's up, Angie? How you doing, baby? What you have to do is understand that there is a clear, concise idea. When you have made what your boundaries are in terms of them being clear and concise, when somebody oversteps them, you know why they're overstepping them. They're overstepping them because they don't care about what you're talking about. Let me try and decipher this Nathan thing. I think Nathan, and let me see, I'm piecing this together. I think you're dominant, right? You're one of those doms, and you want to be dumping. You want somebody who is submissive, and I think this chick wants to sit on your face. Is that where we're at here? And you don't want to put yourself in that position because it is submissive. Is that what I've discerned from all of these messages? If I'm right, send me a message. Because here's the same thing I'm saying to Alika, is you have to decide what your non-negotiables are. I've said this 100 times over and over again. You have to set those boundaries, but it's also your responsibility to maintain those boundaries. Now, we had that young little lady that called last time we went live, and she was saying how, she was testing her man with the flowers thing. You see, I don't like if you know that, yes, so I am right. Okay. Again, so I think you have to set those boundaries. And if somebody is being an emotional terrorist, if they're going if you're dominant, and somebody wants you to be okay, here's a great way to put it. I get it. I get what you're saying. If you're a dom, you're not a submissive. If somebody's a masochist and you're not a sadist, these puzzle pieces fit together in a real clear way. Do you know? So if you're not on that, you can't make somebody do what you want them to do. Because if you're dominant and she's asking you to be submissive, then it just doesn't work. If it's not what you like, it's as ill as you trying to. Big shout to Deontel Williams. Thank you for the $5, bro. You the best. But this is the same thing as I was saying to Lika, is that you have to set your boundaries and then you got to stick with them. I mean, if you're a straight man, if you're a straight man and some gay dude goes, yo, I like you, it doesn't matter. Him liking you doesn't matter. This is just not. Yes, thank you for recognizing me and Salma Hayek. 'Cause I'm gonna think about Salma Hayek sitting on my face. But my point is that you have to set these boundaries. You have to understand what your that's the real thing. The honesty of understanding what your non-negotiables are is the first part of the honesty. Who am I? What am I? Ask these questions so that you know where where you're at, what you like and what you don't like. And I'm not judging it either way. It's not for me to judge. What I'm just saying is there is somebody I've learned, and this is something that I've learned from Harry. Harry's a fucking dirtbag freak. And he loved, he's always been a fan of these FetLife sites and stuff. But there's some wild shit. There's people dressing up like furries and people at fucking balloons, and they're doing all kinds of. And like I said, I'm not judging it. I'm just saying there's somebody who wants to get down with what you want to get down. And if you got somebody who's trying to make you do something that you're not comfortable with, The answer is just no. Because even if you put up with it, how long are you going to put up with it before you go, yeah, I'm not? This is the same thing as like, you know, I remember consulting with a guy, and he got married. Like, he was heavy in the church, so he got married to his little church girl, right? But he was smashing some little chick on the side who was a freak, just tossing the salad and eating, just giving a nigga blowy from the back, all kind of. And so now he's in a situation where he has a child with this woman that he honestly doesn't want to be with. I mean, he wants to be with it in the you know, in the sense of you know, like almost like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. But you got to understand something, man. When this goes down, when you're living your life and there's no agency watching you, you want somebody who's going to get down with you the way they want to get down with you. And if not, what will ultimately happen is you will end up resenting the person because they're not doing the things you want them to do. So it's funny because I think it was last week, we had a guy called in who was poly, and the girl was saying, yeah, you know, she just loved him and liked him, cared about him a lot, and she wanted him to be monogamous. But he wasn't monogamous. It's just what it was. So, you know, there's a situation where he's trying to get mad at fish for swimming. And he was like, well, I just wish that she would, you know, I wish she would step up and say it. Everybody don't have that in them. How many guys on this live right now are too nice to speak up and say what they want or say what they don't want? How many of y'all are in relationships where you're not happy with the relationship and you don't feel confident enough to say what it is you actually want? How many of the women on the fucking live that are afraid? You gotta ask for what you want. If you don't ask for what you want, you won't get it. And if you put up with, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying, if you're going to compromise your non-negotiables, you don't get to change your mind later. I mean, you can change your mind. I mean, you can always change your mind, but just don't be mad when it don't work out the way that you want. Hold on. Russell says, take it back and break down how to approach 3 women at once. That was the first clip I've ever heard from you 12 years ago. Yeah, Russell, we can talk about that on. I don't think that's a great topic to cover. I got guys on here who have not. I know that I got guys on here who are listening right now who are not even laying the 5 bricks. And so to give that kind of magic out, that kind of advanced magic, it screws up everything else. This is one of the reasons why I say that if you can't listen to Black Phillip without looking at it in terms of you know, it being entertainment, because it's a lot of those thoughts are like half. They're not fully formed and fully finished. And so you giving guys who don't really, and I mean, I have yet, I don't think I've ever had a guy who did a consultation. Let me put that up real quick. You know, had anybody who did a consultation, one-on-one consultations, DanteNero.com. Y'all know how to get me. And I've said, did you make an attempt to lay the 5 bricks? And they go, no. Because there's nobody to make them accountable for this. And because there's nobody to make them accountable, they just don't do it. But on a fundamental level, that alone changes your mind. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're probably going to do it wrong, and you're probably going to fuck up, and you're going to do it a while. But I mean, I literally have guys who have had consultations with me who have not even made an attempt. You got it, Nathan. No problem. I have never called on somebody, had a consultation with somebody, booked a consultation with me, and then I said, well, you laying the 5 bricks? And they go, no. no, I did it a little while, and they do it, but nobody's ever done it efficiently. And anybody who has done it, anybody that's in the chat that actually did it for a minimum of 8 weeks, 5 a day every day, 7 days a week for 8 weeks, it is life changing. It is life changing. Big shout out to Wesley. I was around 300 pounds, but after gaining 100 pounds, I lost confidence. Girls still want me, but my low self-esteem kills my erection. Hard time losing weight. Here's the thing, Wes. I mean, you gotta what you gotta understand is you gotta do the work. It doesn't even matter whether you lose the weight. You know, it's the fact that you're on a day-by-day basis working on losing the weight. If you're hitting that gym regularly and you're doing your cardio and your diet and you're doing what you need to do, you're instantly the action that you take is makes you confident. It will instantly make you more confident just by doing, you doing that will change your whole perspective. And because here's the thing. How do I put this? Confidence comes from what you do, not who you are. Doesn't matter what kind of car you got, what your job is, it is what you specifically do that makes you confident about yourself. So just the simple fact of, look, here's the thing. If you're 800 pounds and you are doing nothing, eating cake and sitting on the couch, you are always going to be super hypersensitive about your your self-esteem and stuff. But you could be 800 pounds, and that the fact that you're getting up every day 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and going for your walk, even if you're just consistent with that, your confidence grows exponentially. Because see, this is the battle is really not with other people. The battle is the battle that goes on in our head. And I used to say this all the time, is no matter what happens, you are, when you lay across that bed and the shadow from the ceiling fan is whipping across your face, Wes, you know if you ain't shit. You know if you're not doing the right thing. But once you have set a goal, because here's where the sadness comes, is when you've set the goal, but you haven't done anything, or you're not on it. See, like your brain acts almost as a GPS. It's like, you know how when you're going in the wrong direction and your GPS goes recalculating. It recognizes when you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do. And if you want real confidence, you got to stick to the program. And I'm not saying nobody's perfect. Everybody falls off. Everybody, we're all human. And the fact that we get up and stand up again and get back on that horse, that's where the confidence is, the resilience. People feel confidence from being resilient, from staying on track, even when they fall off, the fact that you get back up, because you didn't get the habits that are fucking up your weight and fucking up your body and fucking up your health. That didn't happen all at once. That habitual thing where you're overeating and not exercising and all of those things, it took you many years. I mean, who knows what it is? It could be self-esteem from you, from... Here's a crazy thing. I mean, this is, and I don't, I always like to share my own shit because I think it puts it in perspective. Because if it's happening to me, there's a good chance that it's happening to you. My dad, when I was a little kid, I always wanted to do things myself. I always wanted to be super independent. And so, I don't know how old I was, but I was probably too young to really make my bed, right? But I wanted to make my bed, and I made these attempts, but it was, it's a difficult thing to do when you're a kid and you don't understand, you know, the logistics. So I made my bed, and then I grabbed my dad, and I was like, look, Dad, I made the bed. And while I made the bed, just as I made the bed, he goes, oh, wow, oh, wow, that's really good, right? But as he was doing it, he was smoothing the covers out. Like he was pushing the wrinkles out and tucking it and stuff. And I was like, it was almost like he didn't think that I would recognize that what I was doing wasn't enough. But I remember, now here's the crazy thing. I must have been, you know, I mean, I don't know what, I don't know if y'all can talk about this in the comments. I mean, what year do you start making your own bed? You know, where you're told to make your bed. But this was way before that, way before you would even be expected to do something like this or expected to have the capacity to do that. So I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6 or whatever. And I never, to this day, I'm 59 years old, and I still remember, I still can see him. When I close my eyes, I can see him tell me, oh, you did a great job. And he you know, he smoothed out the covers. And I took that as, even back then, that I wasn't good enough, that I was never gonna do what was good enough, you know? And don't get me wrong, I mean, even if it didn't stick with me at that point, there was so many times where my father did that same thing, where what I did wasn't good enough, everybody else was good enough, everybody else was better. And so I just got, the only way I could get out, shake that off, was I had to say that what matters to him doesn't matter. I had to get to the point where what his opinion about me did not matter. But that also meant that when he gave me accolades or when he did pat me on the back, that had to not matter too. So I had to literally kind of ice him out of my life in the context of where his acceptance didn't matter. And there's ways that I did that. Maybe some of them was a little more harsh because of the fact that I had to discount anything, what any of his opinion was. I mean, because at the time I wasn't able to. I mean, I'm more mature now and I'm able to take the good and the bad and kind of discern with the difference. Also, to see that you realize, as you get older, you realize that everybody is not everybody's not capable of showing gratitude or you know, being positive or you know, I mean, my dad was born 1920. I mean, you know, he grew up in the Depression and at the time of Jim Crow. You know, so you know, you have to give. You got to give leverage with that you know, he was going through some of his own things as well, but you have to make decisions that preserve your own kind of mental health and your confidence. And so it got to the point where nothing he said mattered. If he thought I did great, it didn't matter. If he thought I did shit, it didn't matter. And I just you know, I didn't have the maturity to kind of sift through that. So but it's interesting. I mean, I couldn't have been more than, I would say, 6 years old. And I remember, I still in my mind can see him smoothing the corners out and basically lying to me, and just that it wasn't. And I think even if he had said, wow, you did a great job, but can I show you something? You know, a way to make it, the corners to smooth it out. And if he had showed me, I think things would have changed. I would have been able to do that. But my dad just didn't have that ability to communicate like that, you know. And he didn't have that ability to communicate because he had, you know, 8 brothers, 8 sisters, and it was 16 of them, and at a time where they were dirt poor. You know, my dad had a 6th grade education, and he did great by me for what he had. But you gotta understand the limitations of the people around you, and sometimes they're not able to. They're not able to like you're expecting. You know, this is why whenever I hear, you know, like you get somebody like fucking Lord Jamal and they go, it's common sense. It just, whenever you hear somebody say it's common sense, the understanding is that everybody should understand it. Which is just ridiculous because we all have a, you know, that's where the E in ACE comes in. It's empathy. You know, it's people, you know, it's people being in a situation where they just do not have the capacity to be thoughtful or to not be harsh, and it's because they never learned it, you know. And the crazy thing about this, as a child, we look up to our elders and to our parents, and the expectation is that, oh, they're grown, it's common sense, but it's only common sense for you. It's not common sense for them. Vigor Addict says, where can we find the 5 bricks? If you sign up for the Patreon, it's all. The whole plan is on the Patreon. We talk about it. I mean, every episode that I've ever done. But I mean, even if you just go through the laying the 5 bricks, it's paying 5 comp. I'm not gonna go. I've gone through this a lot of times, but it's going through the paying 5 compliments a day to 5 separate women every day, you know, with not trying to get the number. That's where you start. Thank you, Angie. Like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. Caro says that Jordan Peterson started making his bed at 2. Jordan Peterson is an idiot. Oh, Vega, thanks. Welcome to the family, man. Tuesdays and Sundays, definitely. Sometimes Thursday. Jordan Peterson is an idiot. Anybody to tell you any different, he's a liar and a charlatan, and I'll tell you why. Jordan Peterson uses big words to explain things that could be simply spoken. It could be plain. Now, this is something that I've learned with time. It's I'll give you an example. If you have a court case or something and you got a lawyer, and a lawyer is speaking to you in a lot of legalese, a lot of words that you don't really understand because you didn't get a law degree, right? There's only 2 reasons why somebody would do that. Number 1 is they're not smart enough to know that everybody that they talk to doesn't have a law degree and they don't understand the legalese. Or number 2, they don't really want you to understand the concepts that they're talking about, right? There's no other reason for that. Either you're, or no, there's one other reason. Or that you literally are a charlatan and you don't want people to know. You want to never really make your position. Yes, exactly. He says a whole lot of word salad. No, ain't saying shit. And what he does, the way he sucks you in, is he'll say very simple things that you go, oh yeah. I mean, a young man should make his bed, and he should get a job and earn money, and he should clean his room, and he'll say these really simple things where he gets you nodding your head. It's the same way a used car salesman does. He gets you nodding. And then he says some ridiculous shit.
To accept, press 1. To send.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Will from Jersey.
What up, Will? What's going on? How can I help you, bro?
I'm chilling, bro. Hey, so I have a question. So I'm in a particular predicament where I made my side chick my girl.
Okay.
And I'm in the process now of saving up money to move out of my parents' house. And I've had a conversation with my side chick, who's not my girl, about moving out and moving in. But the problem is that even though she's absolutely perfect, because she's agreeable and she's very feminine and she does everything that I want her to do, I feel bad if I break it off with her because I wanna have more options and just explore and see what's out there. Because I'm not a very monogamous guy. Do you think it's messed up if I break the news to her that I no longer want to continue this anymore?
Now, is it that you don't want to continue it, or is you don't want to be monogamous?
Well, I don't want to be monogamous, and she's literally the only option that I have in terms of having a sexual partner.
I think you know what I'm gonna say. You already know what I'm gonna say. It's you got to be honest about it, and
Yeah.
you might be surprised what she says, because if she doesn't, if she might decide that she wants, she would rather have a part of you than no part at all, right? And she may cut it off and go, yeah, well, I don't want to do that, which gives her, she has a right to. But then at least if things go down and you know, I mean, if you've been a credible guy, there's a good chance that she'll go, I'd rather have some of you than none of you at all. There's also the chance that she might go, yeah, I don't want it, I want all of you or none at all. Both of those things
we've
are
had this conversation. Yeah, we've had this conversation before where I told her, like, you know, I want to, like, have, like, threesomes and I want to have other options. And she said she's not okay with that. And I said, that's totally fine. Like, we don't have to be together if you're not comfortable with that. But don't force me to be in a relationship with you if that's not something you're okay with.
And so now, okay, well then you got your answer. She's going, I don't want to do it. Now, does she still want to be on you know, she still want to fuck with you, or does she want to not be with you because of it?
If I tell her, I mean, I've told this to her before, but I guess because I'm so honest with her and I haven't lied to her about anything, like, whenever we break it off, she always comes back. But my thing is that if I tell her the truth and I tell her, listen, this isn't going to work, I want to explore what's out there, then I literally have, I have no partners sexually for me to, like, for me to talk to or hang out with. So, like,
yeah,
it's messed up on my
wait a
part
minute, are you laying the 5 bricks?
every day.
And you don't have any options at all?
No options at all. I lay the 5 bricks without any expectations of having any feedback.
You're definitely, you got to be doing something wrong. So, I mean, I hate to put it to you. I know you're trying to get your money together, but you got to get a consultation. And because I'd have to kind of break it down and find out, because you're definitely making mistakes. And how long have you been laying the 5 bricks?
For the past, I've been doing it on and off. So I know I haven't been doing it correctly, but I became more consistent when I started this new job. So I've been consistent for the past 2 months.
Yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. You got to be doing something wrong. So we probably need to deconstruct. You need to get a call with me, and then we need to deconstruct the mistakes that you're making, and then figure out how we escalate through the phases so that you. Because there's no way in the world that you can be consistently doing it for 2 months and you would. I have guys who got laid by accident, laying the 5 bricks for 2 months, where just accidentally they just hit somebody that was down, and so there's got to be. I would imagine you're probably doing too much, or you're saying too much, or whatever, and you probably have jumped from that makes it all kind of weird, and you're turning them against you. There's not, especially not if you got this girl who is on you like this. There has to be, you got to have some swag to even get her like that. So, but you just don't know what you're doing, and
Why are you gay?
You're missing it. You're really missing the whole point. You're missing. You got to be making mistakes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I went on your website to book a consultation. Is it possible that I can book it for this upcoming Sunday?
Yeah, you can put something in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I was checking it said that I can only check to see, like, for either for tomorrow or for the next 2 days. Do you have an option where I can book it for the following
Yeah,
week?
you can go on the calendar. Just the calendar will let you book it all the time. And if not, I'll change it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
All right,
Sounds
brother.
good, man. Thank you.
All right, bro.
All right, brother. Bye.
Yeah. There's no way you could be laying the 5 bricks and not get a win. It's just not. This is not possible. I hear you, Angie. Angie says I'm driving and I can't call, but I'm laying the 5 bricks with men saying hello, and they seem scared and put off. Any guidance for me? Yeah, Angie. Sometimes with men, they, if they're what I would say is for you either gonna have to pull back and be more demure and suck a dude in, but the bottom line is too, you grown ass woman, I think that you can just ask a dude out, because if you're talking to guys and they're simping and they don't, and the fact that you are outgoing and a little more aggressive, than they're scared to death. But that fear that they have is also something that you can work to your advantage, because if you push up, Angie, they're not going to hear the same way. They don't, like when you're showing interest, how they don't have the ability to pursue you, even though they know that you're giving them the okay. The same fear that they have will be the fact that if you set the parameters for whatever's going on, they're not going to be able to say no. They're going, whatever you want to do, you can do. So it's sort of like, it's sort of like because you're gonna, and I mean, it's really unfortunate, Angie, because I know, we've talked and done consults and stuff like that, and the thing is that, you get it, but the problem is that you're talking to a bunch of guys who don't even have the courage to. I don't get me wrong, I feel sorry for grown women, older women, because man, guys is scary. I mean, this is a crazy thing. I didn't even know that people were talking to people on Facebook and Instagram and DM without even getting on the phone and talking to each other on the phone, which is, I mean, I don't know how somebody's going to give you a blowy if you don't talk to them. I mean, one thing is so much more intimate than a phone call. So Angie, yeah, I mean, I think that is important. I mean, and if you want, well, we can work something out where you call me up and we'll figure out what you got. But I think you have to just pursue them and kind of set it up and kind of, because they'll if you're aggressive enough, they ain't gonna do nothing but go, yes, ma'am. The only problem is that, that could turn you off, because you're like, man, this guy's not even comfortable enough to kind of pursue what he wants. So there's that. But you know how to get me, mama. Yeah, I think we're an hour and 40 in. I think I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna leave let me do the don't forget to like and share, comment. That. Then the lives will be up and you can share it with people. And y'all know the clips and everything is up. If y'all get a chance, go on the clips and share the clips with somebody. And I'd really appreciate that. Helps. That helps the show. Don't forget the Patreon. Let me put that up real quick. The Patreon is www.patreon.com/manschool202, and that gives you all the bonus content and all the old episodes and stuff. There's plenty of stuff. Also, laying the 5 bricks is all this stuff, and everything that I talk about has been said and done prior to this. Real quick, don't forget the one-on-one consultations. That's DanteNero.com. Click on consult. Let me see. I don't know if Deontel Williams, I think I said him, but thanks for the $5, bro. Big shout to all the people that hit me on the Cash App. Brian Lorenzo, Xavier Carina, 808, Presley, and Deontel Williams. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Please, thank you for that, Angie. We'll be live on Tuesday, regular time. You know what it is, 8 o'clock. Bring your questions and all the things that's going down. Harry will be with me. I think we'll be in the studio. If not, we will be live from my home studio. Like and subscribe, please. Send the information. If you think there's somebody out there that needs this guidance, man, send it to them. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? Sexual Revolution's being podcasted. I love y'all, man. Y'all the best people, best fans anybody can ever have. Love y'all to death, man. Peace, y'all. We out of here.